So what I'm showing you here is you can scale your freedom exponentially faster doing this if you take it serious and you do it right. So 5 years in here at eXp, I'm 20 plus years conservatively ahead of my goal, my lifelong goal, which was to build $1 million residual income. And I could not have done this without eXp. So I'm very grateful for this company. And I want you guys to think about how simple it is to make this happen. Now it's going to be difficult, but it's also simple. Building RevShare is definitely difficult, but of difficult things to do in business, I think it's the easiest difficult thing I've ever done, if that makes sense, right? So at the bottom, all I did was I studied the model well. And as I studied it well, it created a vision for me that I knew that if I keep chasing this and I kept looking and I knew how this math worked out, that if I put hard goals down on pen and paper and I worked at them daily and I never let anybody talk me out of my goals, not my friends, not my family, not other goals I was chasing, definitely not competitors, and most importantly, myself, that if I put the time in, I've seen enough people come before me and do this, that if I do the same things they've done, then I'd have to have the same outcome. And it is that simple, right? Whatever you want, put a goal on pen and paper, don't let anybody talk you out of it, and work at it every single day until you get it. So step one, guys, and I really want to break this down because it's not as difficult as people are making it seem in their mind to go out there and create this big revenue share income. So the first thing is perception creates procrastination, meaning the perception that something's going to be more difficult than it is. If you think something's going to be more difficult, then you're not going to go do it. But reality is not until you try it. And many times if you put a real effort into something that had a high perception of difficulty, what you'll find out is it had a pretty low real difficulty and you're frustrated that you didn't put more time into it sooner. You yourself need to become a 1 agent per month recruiter. Now, Rob Flick, heard him speak. Rob's the #1 team builder that's ever built teams on earth of any human being ever. He built the 14th largest team in the history of Keller Williams, and he's #1 here at eXp Realty, okay? And Rob's entire philosophy on life, even when he started building KW decades ago, was he was still in the active income window of his life. He still had to sell. Every single month, his goal was to sell 1 house and to recruit 1 agent. That was it. Sell 1, recruit 1. This has been my process on the investing world, which is kind of funny. When I met Rob, I told him, I was like, I've been doing the same thing training with the consulting space and the investment space, which is flip a house, keep a house, meaning flip 1 for eat money, just get some active income in to keep my life going forward, to pay my bills, to go on vacations, to do this stuff over here. So flip 1, but keep 1. And then own real estate over here for equity ownership and residual income. So it's a very simple thought, or very common thought process. Sell 1, keep 1, or sell 1, add an agent, flip 1, keep 1, okay? Active to passive, active to passive. And this is the path for you to get to your freedom, okay? Now, if you sponsor 1 agent a month, in that first example, and then step 2, you can find just 3 people, guys. This is not conquering the world. We're looking for 3 partners that can do the same, that can each sponsor 1 a month. Let's look at how these numbers play out. So if you sponsor 1 a month, it's 12. If each one of your partners sponsors 1 a month, that's 12 by 3 is 36. So you can see you're already up to 48 agents. Now, 10% of your agents will add at least 2 to 3 agents per year. And for this example, I want to be a little bit conservative, and we're just going to use 2. Now, let's say in that part right there, it says 48 minus 3. The reason why I'm doing that is because those 3 leaders that you brought in that have already sponsored 12, we're going to take those out, leaving 45 left over, if that makes sense. Okay. Now, 10% of them will sponsor about 2 a year. 45 by 0.1 is 4.5 by 2 agents is 9 agents. So if you add the 49 plus 9 agents, you're already up to 57 agents at this moment. Now, you will see that some of those other agents will add onesies, twosies. So let's say some of those other 40 just go out there and add a couple, and we're going to round this up to about 60, if that's okay with you guys. Now, traditionally, what you're going to see is in the eXp business, we have pretty much the #1 retention record in the history of the business, not just our Wolfpack, but just overall at eXp. Most big brokerages, guys, grow at a 1.25 to 2 to 1 ratio, meaning they add 1.25 agents up to 2 agents, and then they lose 1. What we've seen is we're actually growing at well over a 3 to 1 ratio, but I'm going to be conservative for this example and say let's use a 3 to 1 ratio, meaning we attract 3 partners. At the end of the year, we have 2 partners left, if that makes sense. Now, most small brokerages grow at like a 1 to 1 or 1.1 to 1. That's why at the end of 5 years, they have 20 agents. If that makes sense, they're going up, but they're hovering. Now, if you look at that where it says 60 divided by 3, it's 20. That would be 1/3 of the agents being lost. That would leave 40 agents at the end of the year. Now, if you had this simple process happen and recreate itself, where you sponsor 1 a month, and those 3 agents that you're worth sponsor 1 a month for 3 years, this is easily going to give you guys a 6-figure residual income. So it's not like you have to conquer the world, right? I know you guys can do this. You know you can do this. You can go out there and find 3 partners this year, and then you can build your skill sets to learn how to attract 1 a month. If you can find 1 a month, and you can help 3 people do the same thing, in a matter of a few years, you will be financially free. And this is going to be much less headache and much less stress than building a rental portfolio, okay? Now let's jump it up a little bit. Let's see how fast and how kind of like these numbers change when you plug in different numbers here. So this is a similar example, but instead of attracting 1 a month, let's attract 1.5 a month, okay? So let's say you can now attract 1.5 agents a month, that's 18. If your agents do the same, that's 3. You had 3 agents do this with you, that's 54, creating 72 agents. Now 10% in the same way that we ran the math before, go out there and add 2 conservatively. You're gonna see that that's an extra 14 agents. Combined total, you have 86 agents at this moment. Now, if you're gonna look at the end of the year retention ratio of 3 to 1, that's gonna leave you about 57 net agents. So at the end of year 1, you're gonna have 57. So if you do this for 2 years or just a little bit over 2 years, you guys are not financially free if your goal is to have about a 6-figure residual income. Now, it's not gonna stop, just so you guys know. That's like it's a moment in time. It's not like you hit $100,000 transactional income in December, next year you have to start over. Here, once you hit $100,000, it's actually growing faster than it was on the rate of what it took to get it up to 100,000, if that makes sense. So you're building an exponential growth force. Now let's look at the example if we're gonna do 2 agents now, because if you guys can get to where you can sponsor 1 a month, you can do 2 a month. Now, when I was putting heavy time into my frontline building it, before I put most of my time into building the business and things like that, I was recruiting 5 to 6 people a month. All I was doing was going to local networking events in my local city, and I was going to the REI schools. And that's pretty much it. I was just getting every single week. What I would do is I go to 3 to 5 different networking events, and these were events I had to go to anyways. These were events I wanted to go to anyways. I was going into, private money lending events, IRA custodian events. Some of you guys know Brant Phillips, super rock star, 4-time icon agent, almost 400 agents. I met Brant at a equity trust IRA custodial event, believe it or not. So I went to an IRA event and met Brant, and now he's taking over the industry, right? So that's where you can go and build these relationships. REI clubs, realtor parties, realtor networking events, and then also think about how to sponsor your local REI clubs and some basic strategies, working the deals that you're doing with agents on the other end of the transaction. So it's pretty quick and easy to get to 1 to 2 a month if you put the time in, guys. Now you have to put the time in. You're gonna have to budget time in and put it in a pen and paper on your calendar and treat it like a business, okay? But if you sponsor 2 a month, that's 24 yourself for the year. Now, if you can find 3 leaders to do this with you, you guys can see that's 72. 72 plus 24 is you're at 96 agents. Now, if 10%, do about 2 a year. Out of those 93, you're having about 19 more agents. You're already to 115. Losing a few, a third of them, you're gonna end up with 77 agents, guys. And if you do the math, you're about maybe 1.25, 1.5 years, give or take, where you're gonna be. Obviously, depending on some slight variables on what price point market you're in and the quality of agents in your organization, okay? Now here's a different way to look at this. Instead of doing 1 agent per month by yourself and 3 agents, let's look at how this changes if you just add 2 more leader partners with you, meaning instead of having 3 leaders go out there and do 1 a month with you, we're having 5 now. So if you can find 5 or 3 leaders, you can definitely find 5 if that makes sense. So I'm just kind of showing you how if you just make small tweaks, half an agent per month, 1 agent per month, instead of 3 partners, let's add 5 partners that build with us, how these small tweaks can change the numbers in a big way. Okay, so if you did 1 a month still yourself, you have 12. But if you have 5 leaders instead of 3 in this example, doing 1 a month, that's 60. So you're at 72 agents. Now, after the 10% of them adding a few a year, you're gonna be about 86 agents, similar to the example before when we were doing 1.5, but with 3 partners. And now you can see that you're gonna still have about 57 net agents at the end of the year, and it's gonna be about a 2-year play for you to get to your financial freedom number. You can assume that you're going to sponsor 1 agent a month, or 1.5 agents a month, and 5 partners do 1.5 agents a month with you. What that's gonna equate out to is 108 agents. 10% would leave you about 126 agents left, if you guys go play around with math there. And at the end of the year, this is one example. If you're gonna do 1.5 agents yourself and 5 people do this with you, you're gonna have 84 agents at the end of the year. And depending on the price points and how many you're selling, that may already be close to a 6-figure residual income, but definitely within like a 1.5 years at those growth rates, okay? So hopefully you guys can see that this does not require going out there and conquering the world. And I've seen a lot of times where like people think they have to go recruit a lot of agents. This is not a recruiting business. This is a training, leadership, and multiplication, duplication business. And yes, if you recruit a lot of agents, it leads to the likelihood that you have more agents that will go recruit agents with you. But I've seen people that all they've done, you guys saw Elizabeth Riley. She's incredible. She's inspirational for a lot of us. She came on this call, remember, or on one of our calls. All she had done is average basically 1 net agent a month for her 6 or 7 years here, and it's turned into what, $4 or $5 million a year in income. She's not conquering the world, right? Little consistent steps, small incremental wins with yourself and a few partners over time adds up to your freedom. and their freedom. And then you're gonna have a lifestyle that you and your friends all have freedom together, and you're gonna have a blessed life in the second half of your life, right? Don't talk yourself out of your future because you got a five or six rejections from an agent before you even knew what you're doing, right? Because I'd say that the average person gives up on RevShare after talking to 10 people or less, which is sad because you couldn't even have developed a skill set to adjust off of those failures off of 10 sample sizes, if that makes sense, okay? The average rental portfolio sets someone financially free at retirement age, not in 1 to 3 years, guys. This is about having your financial freedom at a young age, having it now, today, the money to travel the world, to get what you want now, not in 20, 30 years. I hit my goal I was waiting to hit a goal in 20 years from now. Think about that eXp accelerated decades for me. This can happen for you, but you have to make it happen for yourself. This is the vehicle that will get you there, guys. I promise you, it can get you there quickly and it will keep you there.